Good afternoon. My name is Taylor Ball. I plan to become a high school music teacher, focusing on instrumental music in or near Dayton, Ohio. In the course of this presentation, I will elaborate on my vision statement and the different ways in which being culturally aware might look within my future classroom. Types of learners in hidden curriculum. There is no way to predict what kind of classroom you will get when you become a teacher. Music classrooms are especially uncertain due to the size of the classroom and are unique in that they are one of the only high school classrooms where students from all grade levels are represented in one room at the same time. Cultural backgrounds, economic differences, differences in religious beliefs and motivations for being in the classroom are just a few of the things that are present in a music classroom and are directly addressed within the music. My passion as a future high school band director is to unlock a new world of possibility for each student in my classroom, both musically and personally. In addition to learning to make technically great and passionately fueled music, they will learn how to be self-taught team players and to be open to new possibilities and to uncover and eliminate negative hidden curriculum. They will learn to be the authors of their own unwritten story, and that they are in control of their present and future. According to the Hidden Curriculum website, hidden curriculum is defined as the unwritten, unofficial, and often unintended lessons, values, and perspectives. The hidden curriculum I want to create in my classroom is centered around creating a classroom culture of self-learning and discovery. Deputy Head Maya Flinkman said it best when she reflected on current bad classroom routines versus what their school was doing, saying that they, the students, don't have any time to think freely, and I think most of the good things come out from free thinking. This will allow students the freedom to think, form their own opinions and views, and allow them a safe space to experience self-education. Places and spaces, material culture. The music learning classroom allows for individual practice, small group or sectional practice, and full ensemble practice, helping to reinforce different styles of learning and group work. It also embraces cultural and economic backgrounds, giving students a common bond and mutual ground to meet and embrace each other as equals. It is important to have a functional music classroom where students' education is not inhibited. Easy access to their instruments, space to assemble them, proper chairs that support good musical posture, working stands, good lighting to read the music, and writing implements to make good music making are all essential to good classroom learning. But to have an effective music classroom, you must go beyond just notes on a page. Helping students to experience the music, to feel it, internalize it, and understand it are all necessary in a complete musical education. In her book Black Ants and Buddhists, Mary Cowie says that good teaching takes more than a teacher with a curriculum teaching her students in a classroom with the doors shut. We must be willing to utilize current events, new music, and each student's unique cultural identity to formulate curriculum. I will endeavor to create a classroom that is visually, culturally diverse and represents my students and the music we select to deepen cultural understanding. I will aim to provide materials that meet the needs of all my students. I will include my students in decision-making processes when it involves room design, setup, lighting, and all visual aspects of our classroom so each student can be seen and invest in our space created for learning. One of the most important things for me will be giving my students a voice in the creation of our learning environment. This means yearly, or more frequently, changes to incorporate new ideas, varying cultures represented by new students, changes in current events, etc. By giving some of the power to the students, they will have an investment in the room. Its setup, the visual, cultural, and musical representations, and the music in which we perform. The achievement gap in cultural bias. According to our lesson's PowerPoint presentations, the achievement gap refers to the disparity of achievement between various student groups. The gap exists especially between groups that differ in socioeconomic status, race and ethnicity, and gender. Music is an equal opportunity subject, offering a level playing field to any student who wishes to excel. A challenge for me and every music teacher is to provide an equal opportunity for all students and opportunities for those students who want to participate. Detracking is necessary in a music classroom as each student performs at the same concert, so maintaining the same high standard and challenging all students to meet it will aid in narrowing or eliminating the achievement gap. Equally as important as maintaining a high standard is supporting students to achieve it. Providing practice opportunities, private instruction with local professionals, small group instruction, and all the tools necessary to improve learning for everyone is critical. As a high school music director, I will work to close the achievement gap by challenging all my students to be their best, providing access to challenging content that drives their improvement, develop relationships with students and their community both inside and outside of the school. I will also eliminate my cultural bias and explore multiple perspectives and stories within my lessons. It will also be important for me to be open to changing my own bias, eliminating language or practices of my own that hinder any student's success. Whether it be a student's culture, religion, dress, or other visual differences, or anything else, I need to be an example for the class to promote community and unity. Culture is disability and cultural conflicts. In my classroom, I will strive to use the cultural diversity to help create curriculum, inspire classroom appearance, and in musical selections we perform. I will work to mitigate cultural conflict by focusing on what connects us, creating honest, open dialogue, and using music to start and reinforce conversations and understanding. The Indigenous Studies in the Elementary Curriculum, a cautionary Hawaiian example, noted that the coherence of any culture is not given by members being the same, nor by members knowing the same things. Instead, the coherence of a culture is crafted from the partial and mutually dependent knowledge of each person caught in the process and depends, in the long run, on the work they do together. For me as an educator, music is a tool that allows us to do things together. In my class, the object will not be to only focus on what unites us, our commonalities, but also the things that make us different and how our differences are also part of their collective strength. I will make sure that in my classroom we make time for settling conflicts when they arise, and also make time to understand, discuss, and process conflict in our world as they arise. Pop culture and rituals. One of the easiest subjects to integrate in my music classroom will be pop culture. Even more broad is the ability to integrate pop culture of any culture in the world through their own unique pop culture. The utilization of this in today's classroom can help bridge the gap between current events and our students to the music and composers that we study who have passed hundreds of years ago. An example of the utilization of pop culture in the classroom and how it positively impacts students' education is in the movie Mr. Holland's Opus. In the movie, Glenn Holland reluctantly takes a teaching job to make ends meet while he worked on his compositions. He initially worked hard to do the bare minimum in the classroom, teach the material, but put no creativity or effort into it. Test scores of his students confirmed that they were as miserable as he was being there, and Mr. Holland was ready to quit. However, circumstances made him stay, and after some strong encouragement from the principal, Mr. Holland had the inspiration to show students the connections between the new rock and roll music and the classical music he was trying to teach them. From then on, they were hooked. Not long after, so was he. As Mr. Holland said, when some of the administrators criticized the use of rock and roll in the school, he responded that I will do whatever I have to reach these students. I feel the same way. And when pop culture is the tool needed to reach students, that is what I will use. In my classroom, I will strive to encourage students to push themselves outside of their comfort zone, using pop culture as a way to connect learning for my students and make lessons relevant to modern material, making lessons engaging and fun. I will work to be mindful of our routines to ensure that we build on productive routines and eliminate or change them that do not benefit the students or our classroom, encouraging students to also diagnose and adjust rituals for themselves. Culturally responsive pedagogy. In the article by Geneva Gay, she explains that culturally responsive teaching is defined as using the cultural characteristics, experiences, and perspectives of ethnically diverse students as conduits for teaching them more effectively. Culturally responsive teaching, to me, in its essence, is the culturally inclusive version of student-centered education, as opposed to the teacher-centered education that permeates much of our school systems. Helping our students making these lesson-to-self connections using their unique cultural characteristics, experiences, and perspectives is the key to retention. Within my music classroom, I will strive to use my students' cultural histories as well as their current cultures as bridges to the concepts and lessons I teach. By engaging each student, listening, and creating meaningful dialogue, I will use their unique cultural identity and will work to create a culturally responsive classroom. In my classroom, I will get to know each student and their unique culture. Then we will be able to incorporate music from that culture that speaks to them as a way for them to be represented in the classroom orally, in addition to visually. We will also use that music to help all students learn about each other and their cultures in a way that is engaging and meaningful. Another benefit of diversity experience in general is the positive impact it has on cognitive development. By utilizing the diversity within world music and the composers who wrote it, we can highlight the culture of every student in the classroom throughout the school year. It was discovered in the Academic and Social Value of Ethnic Studies, a research review, that participation in diversity experiences is significantly and positively related to cognitive development. While the magnitude was small, the effects were consistent across the studies. Diversity experiences that include interpersonal interaction related to racial diversity had the strongest positive impacts because interaction across diverse perspectives forces students to think. This is one great way to connect music, cultures, and students to each other to deepen understanding and solidify learning within themselves. Thank you for watching and listening to this presentation. This vision statement shows what an effective high school music classroom could look like that is culturally inclusive and embraces our similarities as well as our unique differences, as those are what make us stronger.